She brought up years ago that she did not like it when people called me the dumb twin. It's not always the dumb twin. It's like, who's the bad one?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the good one? That's always a question. And she was like, you weren't ever bad, but I think that question that people asked us all the time made you think you were. When she tells me these things, it becomes more of an epiphany. Like, wow, you're right.
Yeah.
I wasn't bad. There was nothing bad about me. We were a lot alike.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to ADHD Aha, the show where people share the moment when it finally clicked that they have ADHD. If you've ever compared yourself to someone else and felt like you came up short, then today's episode is for you. Today's guest, Lisa McNeil, wrote me and the ADHD Aha team a letter, a beautiful letter that vividly captured this feeling, so much so that we knew that we had to invite her on. I'm going to read a little snippet of this letter. As a little girl, I knew something was very different about me, because I have an identical twin who didn't have the same frustrations as I did in school. People used to ask, who's the smart twin? She made straight A's, so early on I considered myself dumb. They would also ask us as little girls, who's the bad one and who's the good one? You can probably guess which one I was. Bad for being more outspoken. It stuck with me my whole life. Do you see what I mean? That was so powerful. And it also made me realize that on ADHD Aha, we've never talked about twins before. So with that, I'm going to welcome our wonderful guest, Lisa McNeil. Lisa, how are you today? Thank you for being here.
I'm fantastic. Thank you for asking me to come on the show. It's really changed my life quite a bit.
Did it strike you a little bit to hear that email read back to you?
Yeah, a little bit. And it's beautiful that I don't feel that way anymore necessarily, but it absolutely did change the way I lived my life, literally.
Well, we're going to get into all of that. Let's talk about growing up as a twin. So your twin's name is Lori.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the younger one, right?
3 minutes younger.
How much does that play into your relationship with her?
Growing up, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's totally a bragging right. It's a responsibility. You know, you feel like you're older. Mm-hmm. You feel like you should be braver. You should feel like you should take care of her. I feel like I did quite a bit of that, especially when we were really young.
I don't know that many twins. Is that common? Do people talk about like who was born first?
It's bigger than I thought it was until I went to the twin festival. When I went to the twin festival, it all came to light, and we went home knowing what our roles are. More so. I know that these days parents are having twins and they're not telling them their birth number.
Oh, really?
I wonder how that's going to change them. Yes. Because it was a huge part. I mean, I would run to her classroom and I'd be like, I'm 8 years old. You're only 7. I'm 8. You're only 7. Like I would like leave my class to go find her because I was kind of, busy like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was the baby of the bunch, even though, and that's how the whole family treated her. Like she was the baby, even though she was only 3 minutes younger. It's interesting.
Yeah. And that festival you're talking about, that's the Twinsburg,
Days.
Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio,
OH.
OHIO. That's the Twinsburg Festival. And you just got back from one, didn't you?
Yes. Last week. It was last weekend. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
So as I've grown older, I've even said, because I feel like throughout our maybe early 20s or so, I was sort of the rogue one in the family. Mm-hmm. And I started saying, yeah, I might be the oldest twin, but she's the wisest twin. Mm. But I just kind of like to give her credit for, I don't know. I have no idea why. I just want to pump her up.
Because you're a great big sister. There you go.
Yes, there we go.
So what was it like growing up? Let's talk about the differences between you and what you remember from that time.
It all started in 4th grade. We moved from New Jersey to Greensboro, North Carolina. New Jersey seemed to be a lot more creative. I went to a school that explored many different learning possibilities, a lot of groups, a lot of games. We didn't have ABCDF. We had meets improvement or meets expectations. So we didn't have the A through F grading system. That was starkly different. Also, it was very hot down here, and we didn't have air conditioning. We only had fans, and the bathroom was in the classroom.
That sounds terrible.
But they were also extremely brilliant kids. They were very studious. They listened to the teacher. They were quiet, and I felt pretty different than that. So my mind started wandering a lot. History class, I felt like it was extremely boring. Math was very, very boring. I couldn't catch on because if you don't catch the first parts of math, you're not going to catch the middle or the end,
Right.
So
Building
I
blocks,
felt
yeah.
behind. I felt behind. And I got my first D on a report card. And I remember crying so hard that my mom just said, do you feel like you did the best that you could? And I thought about it and I said, yes. And she said, well, that's all that we can ask for. So I didn't have parents that were punishing me for grades or anything like that.
That's a lot of transitions all at once. So you have a physical transition. You're moving from one state to another.
And the accents, Southern accents versus Northern was like...
So you've got a little bit of decoding to do there. The weather is different, and the heat sometimes can make people feel even more distracted. And then on top of that, fourth grade is a huge turning point for kids in school. So that's a lot on one kid all at once. How is Lori doing through this transition?
Great. She had a teacher she fell in love with immediately, and she started to write stories. So creative writing became a huge part of her classroom. My class was literally across from hers, and I can see her on the floor with her teacher, and she's reading a book to them, and I'm like, I want to be in that class so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like she had a wonderful fourth grade.
Did she do better with more traditional academic settings?
Yes, she loved tradition. She liked routine.
Okay.
She did not like it when we took a class trip or anything like that. She would literally physically get sick, whereas I was always like so excited to break up the routine.
Yeah, some novelty.
We were very different in that way.
Have you talked with her about ADHD?
I talk to her about ADHD all the time. And I feel like she might have like the smallest little touch of it when it comes to fidgeting. But other than that, I don't think that she has it.
It doesn't sound like she presented as much as you did growing up. Hence, like you constantly being compared to your sister and like not measuring up to like the classic, things that people, that look good on paper, right? In the letter you referenced how, you were treated differently. Is that about when that started as well?
Yeah. And I think I was treated differently by people that barely knew me, just people in church, There's a lot of people that coming and going. My father also did a lot of traveling. So we would see lots of different congregations and they would see twins and they'd be excited about it. And one of the first questions that they would ask us is, who's the smart one? Who's the dumb one?
What a question. I'm so sorry. I'm chuckling because it's just so ridiculous.
It really is. I mean, people compare twins' weight, even at a very young age. Oh, she's the bigger one. That's not good. That's not good at all.
Yeah. It's like they can't find a way to distinguish the two of you, so they need to find some sort of artificial way to keep it clear in their own head.
Yes. Always putting us next to each other and staring at us. By the time you're 8 or 9 years old, you're just like, when is this going to stop?
Yeah.
She brought up years ago that she did not like it when people called me the dumb twin. It's not always the dumb twin. It's like, who's the bad one? Who's the good one? That's always a question. And she was like, you weren't ever bad. But I think that question that people asked us all the time made you think you were. So when she tells me these things, it becomes more of an epiphany. Like, wow. You're right. Yeah. I wasn't bad. There was nothing bad about me. We were a lot alike. I just was the spokesman. I had a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Sure. I was running around all the time and maybe not always thinking things through. Like we both had Snoopy.
Piggy banks?
Thank you. So we both had that. So they got really full. And then one day I was trying to get them out with a knife. And then I ran to the driveway and I was like, I've got an idea. And Lori ran with me. And then I just smashed it on the driveway before I could think about it, Yeah. And I'm barefoot. And Lori was like, oh. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. She saw me like really act out, like kind of like be spontaneous in certain ways where she wouldn't be.
Yeah.
First one with the training wheels off, I'm ready to get those training wheels off, ready to ride my bike all day.
Yeah. And these are such innocent qualities, but then to get labeled, because if it's such a binary that someone's got to be bad and someone's got to be good, then you're automatically the bad. And then you carry that with you your whole life.
You really do.
Tell me about music. And the change the impact that had
huge
on your life in fourth grade. So this is around that same time that we were just talking about.
My sister became a creative writer. I wasn't necessarily looking for something to grab me, But in school, I was not stimulated whatsoever. I
Mm-hmm.
hated Mondays. I cried every Sunday. It was
Mm.
just hard to get to school on a Monday. And the one day I heard violin from a distance. I didn't know what it was. I just said, wow, well, that's a beautiful song. I don't wonder what that's coming from. And of course, my distracted mind, it was probably social studies. And I was just like, man, what is going on? This is amazing. And then that song stopped and it started again in another room. And I thought, I think that person's coming to my room. And she did. This woman walked in, Lori Lloyd, and she started to play. And she blew me away. And she said, who wants to join orchestra? You can pick violin, viola, cello. And I raised my hand, and my mom got me a violin and got Lori one too.
Hmm.
So Lori noticed at such a young age that it started causing competition between us, and she did not like it.
Oh.
She also thought that she attached herself to writing in fourth grade, and I hadn't attached myself to anything yet. And she thought, even though she liked playing violin, she decided not to play violin that year. And she didn't tell me that till 5 years ago.
I mean, that is some empathy and caring and wow, amazing.
We cared about each other very, very much.
So you started playing the violin and that changed your life, didn't it?
It did. I went from a low reading group that year to a high reading group. I went from reading one word at a time to reading full sentences, but I wasn't comprehending it
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, when you're reading notes, you can't just stop at one. Your mind has to flow forward.
Ah.
So probably within months of being in violin and just learning how to pluck, you know, in the beginning you're plucking, but you have to look ahead. And I noticed that right away. I was like, I think it was violin that helped me read better.
You weren't diagnosed until adulthood, though. Is that right?
Correct.
So tell me about what I know. It's like, tell me about your life, like the 10-year period of your life in a few sentences. But tell me about that period of time between that elementary school and then when you did get diagnosed. What was going on?
I had a lot of interests growing up. I really was attached to science. I did well. That was the only honors class I took in high school. And then my brother was a paramedic when I was very young, and he told me a lot of stories. And so from 9 years old on, I wanted to go to school to be a paramedic, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
I joined HOSA, Health Occupation Students of America, and I was able to leave class or start class early, like at 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to hop on an ambulance. I was able to see kind of that world, and I was tuned in completely.
Yeah.
School was a different story. I made it, but it was extremely difficult.
But you had this extreme interest in like this one piece of what eventually infiltrated school with studying to become a paramedic, which is cool that you dove into
Oh,
that.
it was fun.
When was the Duke study that you took part of? Because that was a big turning point for you. Is that right?
That was 10 years later. I was close to 30. Right around 28 years old, I hopped off the truck and I joined a band, and I wanted to just have fun and travel and play music. So I'm always looking for ways to make money, and I saw an ad for adults that were undiagnosed with ADHD. Like, have you ever thought that you might be ADHD and never been treated? You can get $50 if you come to Duke. And Duke was right around the corner. I could literally walk or ride my bike. So I joined for the money in a way, but I also was very curious to see if I had ADHD. And I thought I was. I just had never been to a doctor, and I didn't have insurance.
Right.
So I was like, this is the perfect way. I think I stared at it for a little while too. Like, is this really real? Like, maybe I can really be diagnosed without money?
Really brilliant of you to be like, hey, I also, maybe I can get the support that I need. How did you even know that you might have undiagnosed ADHD? Did Lori help you figure this out?
No, I was on the ambulance, and a really smart girl got hired, and she was in school for something, and she was telling me that she had ADHD and that she took this particular medicine and what that did for her. And I was locked in on her. Her and I became very fast friends. But I also found out immediately that people treated that word ADHD as something stupid So that kind of brought me back to my childhood. So this girl, she was kind of telling me, but somebody overheard her say that she was ADHD. And one of the paramedics said, oh, they have all kinds of words for stupid these days. And she looked at him, and then I looked at her, and she's like, you want to go outside? And we went outside and we talked, and we became very, very good friends. And then I said, man, that would be kind of cool if I could get health insurance one day and explore that.
What'd you learn about yourself through this study?
Immediately, when I started calling back a couple times and they hadn't called me back, they were like, this is not usually a typical an ADHD quality for you to be on it, right? And I said, well, I need money. And I know I am. Within the first day of being there and doing some of these computer tests, they're like, you are clearly ADHD. How have you gotten this far?
Yeah.
And I'm like, with a struggle and a lot of heart.
How long was the study?
I stayed in that study for almost 3 years. They even sent me to New York, did a lot of different tests.
Wow.
It was eventful.
This was a study on twins, ADHD and environmental factors versus biological factors. Is that right?
Probably.
Yeah. I think you sent me a link to the study, and I think that that's what it was about. I'm not very great at reading studies, so I'm not going to speak too much about the study right now. But I know that this is a study that did truly exist.
Yes.
Did you talk with Lori throughout the study about the study and what you were doing?
I was separated from my family due to religion at that time.
Got it.
I was 20, 21 till I was 30.
That must have been painful.
Very.
And you were raised, I think you mentioned Jehovah's Witness. Is that right?
Yes, I was.
And tell me about that. Was there certain expectations that come with that?
I think good ones. I really try to focus on the positive of my background, more so. And we had to sit in a quiet environment. We had to learn. We had to participate. It's not forced, but it's good to participate. We had to be on stage. I had to do speeches. And I think that was pivotal in my personality and gave me a lot of bravery and courage that I can be up on stage in front of people at a really pretty young age and talk to people. And then, of course, we went door to door. So you had to have a presentation in mind and talk to strangers. So, it gave me a lot of courage.
If you kind of opt out of the religion, are you not allowed to see your family?
According to them, if you're not repentant due to a sin, then you can get disfellowship from the congregation.
Okay. And does that mean no contact with family?
Correct.
You're not separated any longer?
No, I went back and I needed my family back desperately. I felt like it was affecting my body. I felt like I was starting to affect my heart. And I got scared one day also. I felt like I had jaw pain thinking about my twin sister.
Oh, wow.
And I said, I have to get her back to save me. But I stopped going to meetings 5 years ago. That was a good move on my part. I had a lot of anxiety.
So you're able to still be in contact with your family while not being part of the church now?
Correct.
I imagine that was really emotional for your sister as well.
The worst.
Because you guys love each other so much.
It was like divorce or like a death. Yeah, it took a lot of repair. We've done a lot of work to repair and get to where we are. That's why we go to the Twin Festival too. Like 2 years ago, we were getting to this particular spot in life. And I was like, do you think that we should go to this thing? She was excited about it.
How did it feel to get diagnosed?
It changed my life. When they first started giving me medicine, I was stressed out and I really needed Lori in my life. And I started going back to the Kingdom Hall and I started hearing things that were familiar from my childhood. And I was really attached to what I was hearing. And I felt like I could get my family back if I just continued to go to church. I started taking the meds around the same time. And I thought, wow, I think the medicine maybe made me when I was reading, I could understand what I was reading. My comprehension was way better.
Yeah.
I actually liked to study. And I was like, who is this person that's liking to sit for an hour and study and write things down and write notes down and create comments? And I was liking this full brain that I was feeling.
Oh, this full brain that I was feeling. I've never heard anybody describe it that way.
It happens in another way too, under an emergency situation. So a girl at work cut herself very badly several weeks ago. I
This
saw
was
it
at work
happen.
at
Trader Joe's.
At Trader Joe's where you are now.
One of my coworkers. Yes. I was coming in from lunch. I saw it happen. Usually without medicine and without my brain fully on, I wouldn't have done this. I went straight over to the computer, clocked back in from lunch while giving people directions. Somebody get her a seat. Somebody get her another chair so she can elevate her leg. Literally clocking in, not forgetting. That was wild to me.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it until after. Like, oh my goodness, Lisa, you clocked in when you did that. But I felt like my whole brain turns on and I get very calm in an emergency situation because that's just part of my blood. Everybody at work told my captain really, really nice things about me that day. They were like, she just had it together and she just, she had her team going and she just helped this woman and she helped everybody calm down. And so I also feel like my brain lights up in an emergency situation, similar to when maybe I feel my medicine working.
Oh, that's an interesting comparison. What are you most looking forward to learning about yourself as it relates to ADHD? Because you're still like, we're all on this path, right?
I really wish I could take some classes and get into some sort of help group or something. Even at work, there's a new girl who's just been diagnosed. She's starting medicine this month. And we have like a little group of people who have ADHD who understand each other and we're patient with each other and we check in on each other. So it's a beautiful arrangement that we have over there. I feel like just having people in your life that give you that kind of grace. My mother has been phenomenal in learning about ADHD. Phenomenal. She loves her children and all she wants to do is know them. She wishes she could climb into our minds.
Oh, that's cute.
It's wonderful to have parents who support you. I can't imagine being out here all alone in this.
Yeah.
There's so much static in my head. I feel like my brain is having conversations with me, but I am not agreeing with what's going on. I talk to myself in such a horrible way.
Yeah.
And medicine does help. But I'm telling you, this podcast,
oh, Lisa,
hearing people's stories made me feel so normal. Like I wanted to literally cry.
Well, first of all, thank you for being such an avid listener. Again, you blow me away in so many ways. And I'm really, that's why we do this. It makes us, it helps us keep going. And I hear you on the negative self-talk. I mean, it's natural with how you grew up and being told that you're the bad one.
Yeah. But when you can give your own self grace and say, you know what, this is just your mind right now, you're probably overstimulated. What I started to do too is I didn't realize that I was ruminating about one thing for a long time. And like 20 minutes. And then the next thing for 20 minutes. And then the next thing for 20 minutes. I didn't realize I even did that until your podcast. Yeah. So one day I was at the register. Some customer did something funny, weird. And I was thrown back. Then they leave. And I ruminated about it for about 45 minutes. And then I looked at the clock and I said, you know what? You've been thinking about this thing for so long. And you haven't accomplished anything. Let it go. Then I realized my brain went to the next thing. It was like a conversation I had earlier that day. I was like, why did you say that? Why did you say that thing?
I get that, yeah.
Then I was ruminating about that. And I said, Lisa, do you see the pattern? That's what this podcast has done. It helps me see the patterns of myself. And then I said, wow, no wonder you're so stressed out even when you leave work. If you could just leave these things in the past and breathe, you can be happier. And it worked like magic.
Your story is really just phenomenal, Lisa. Really enjoyed talking with you and just so grateful. Keep listening to the show. We're so happy that you're a listener and that you shared with us. And now we get to share your story with everybody.
Thank you so much for having passion for your listeners, people you didn't even know. You have no idea how you really can shape people with your passions and your heart. And you have a good one. Thank you, Laura.
So do you. Thanks, Lisa.